Hey, Ron here, back for another one. You ever want to do one of those electric fan upgrades in your classic car or truck, but you're not too sure exactly what you should be doing, or you're not too sure if you trust those Amazon electric fans, or maybe you should go to the auto wreckers and grab one out of a Taurus or a Lincoln, but then you don't know how to wire it up. Let me show you. This is a quick and dirty one that I learned, and it's pretty simple. Let me walk you through this. Um, you can buy these kits. Go down to your local speed shop, or you can even just go down on Amazon or whatever if you want to. That's what I did. I know. I probably shouldn't rely so much on Amazon for all this stuff, but it is cheap, so I do, and I'm cheap. Anyway, let's get into this here. I'll draw it out for you, but what I do is I ordered up this kit. I don't know what it is. It was like maybe 10 or 12 bucks or something. Comes with a fuse, a few connectors. Inside this box this will go into the engine block or the head or the intake manifold, wherever you want to get your sensor from, where you want to get the heat. This is our wiring. I don't understand this, but we'll get into that in a minute. I'll have to cut that. This is a fuse holder, and then we have a relay. The relay is pretty simple to wire up. You can see on this side here, it'll actually show you what's what. You got your 85, 86, 87. It's like a Bosch style relay, and then you also have your 30. So your 30 is always your battery power. Your 85, 86, 87. Well, here, I'll draw it out for you. Give me one sec here. Get you guys kind of set up like this. Okay. So, on the back of your fuse here, and you probably can't read that from there, but basically you have one spade that goes this way, and then the other three all go this way. This guy here is your 30. 30 is always 12 volt battery. Just run that straight to the battery. Very simple. In fact, that one there, you can run your that's where this fuse is going to go. Okay, that's where that's going to go. So that's going to run to your battery. Next up we have 85. So 85 is typically ground. We'll get into that more in a minute. And then 86, this guy over here, is our 12 volt ignition, which basically means anywhere you can tap into that. Some people will do it off their ignition switch itself. Some people will just tap in anywhere they can and get a key on power, or you can just go straight to the fuse box if you want. Typically you'll find an extra slot there that will say IGN, which is ignition, key on power. That's all you're looking for. And then this guy up here, number 87, this guy goes to the positive side of the fan. With me? So let's get back to this ground. So this is pretty straightforward. It's going straight to your battery. This guy's pretty straightforward, going straight to key on power. This guy's pretty straightforward, going straight to the fan. What's going on here? So this guy's actually going to go to this. This is where it gets its ground from. So we're going to put this, in my case, I'm going to put this in the intake manifold. I'm going to put it in the intake manifold, and when it grounds out, when it reaches a certain temperature, in my case I believe it's 185. When it reaches 185, it'll open. In other words, it'll ground out. And once it grounds out, completes the circuit. Boom, we're going to feed that positive, and away we go. We're going to have our fan kick on. So again, number 30 goes 12 volt battery. Very simple. Number 86 goes 12 volt, and they are marked. They are marked in there. I don't know if you can see that or not. 86 goes 12 volt ignition. 87 goes to the positive side of the fan, and 85, of course, gets ground, and that's where this little complication comes in. This is our ground. It will not be grounded until it reaches temperature. And then once it drops to 175, the fan turns off again. Okay, enough talk. Talk's cheap. Let's get out there and go and do this together. You might want to just jot that down for yourself if you've never done this before. Not a bad idea. Something like that. Okay. These wires here. Maybe I'll come back and we'll talk about these wire colors as well. So I'm not sure about the wiring for everything, but the wiring for this cheap one I got off Amazon, it's like $10 kit or something. Let's go through the wiring on this one. I'm assuming you're going to get this one. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But this red wire, that's one that's going to go to our battery. That's number 30 here. This black wire, that's number 87. That's going to be our ground. It also has this little, I don't know why that's on there. It shouldn't be on there. We'll go through that after too. This blue wire, this guy here is going to go to our fan. And then this white wire, that's going to be our ignition wire. Yeah, I know. Listen, I didn't do this. It was done when I got it. So black wire is our ground, which will run to this guy. Red wire goes straight to our battery. Blue wire goes to our fan, and white wire is going to go to our key on power, 12 volt key on power. Let me just write that down for you. Okay, so let's get after this. We're working on my old Nova. Pretty much gonna be the same thing, whatever you work on. Here, let's find a good spot. How's that? Is that better? I don't know. Let's take a look. That might be more inclusive. All right, so there's our switch. There's our wiring harness and our relay, and there's our little clips there. Maybe first thing I'll do is I'll get a battery tray in there, then I'll get a battery in there, and then we'll reconvene. Okay, so here's my temp sensor. If you notice, there's no sealant or anything on here. What I like to do is I lightly thread it into this guy, and then I lightly thread the adapter in. So in my case, I need an adapter. If you need an adapter, you can definitely get it from a parts store. But you can also get it from like Home Depot, right? You don't have, and don't go crazy with this either. Uh-oh. The brass is pretty soft, and it lets go. It lets go before that lets go. So don't get all gorilla on it. There's just no need. Okay, so we're just gonna use these. What did I pay for this? I think it was like $15 to do 3 rads, 3 installation kits. So it's a nice cheap way. Just kind of fire this. It's like a zip tie. Runs through the rad, through to the other side. Just like that. Pull that through. And then I'll put the piece on this side, and then we'll throw it in the truck, in the car here right away. Okay, so what I've done is I've mounted my relay here, and I've ran my red wire that's off of the number 30. I ran that to this connector over here. I don't know if you can see that or not. And then from there, it's run directly to the battery. That was pre-existing, so it just made sense to tie in there. The blue wire, that's this wire here, that wire runs down to the fan. And then we have our black wire. Our black wire runs down to the fan as well. That's going to be just a straight up ground. That one actually runs to here. So it's got it grounded to the rad support itself. So that will complete this end of it. The other two wires, the black and the white. So the white, if you remember, goes to our key on power, ignition power. And this black one goes to that sending unit there. Right there, that guy. So let's get that part done now. Maybe what I'll do is I'm just gonna tidy this up. I think I'll tie it down there and tie it up down here somewhere. We'll get that all cleaned up, and then I'll move on to the wiring up there. What do you think?
I think it looks good.
Okay. Let's get after it. Okay. Well, here, let me show you. So there's our relay. We got our red wire coming down into here, which then is run to the battery. So that's our 12 volt. We have our blue wire in there. It's run all the way down here, and it hooks up to the fan. And the fan is grounded. I just have it grounded back here somewhere. Oh, right there. Just to the rad support. So that's two of our wires. The blue one to the fan and the red one to the battery. It leaves two more. A black one. That black one skirts in behind here, through there, up along in here, and then to that sending unit that we installed. In our case, we installed it in the intake manifold. You could install it over here, which is typical place for a Chevy temp sensor. You could install it in the other port over here if you wanted to. You know, you got one on each. You could install it here. You could install it back there. You could install it back there. As long as it's getting coolant, it's going to read the temperature. Leaves us one wire left, and that was the white wire. So that white wire traveled in through there, up and across, over there, and then into the cab, or into the car itself. And then once in the car, I just keyed it into key on power. I'll go turn the key on, and I'll show you exactly how this works. So the key is on. You can probably hear my fuel pump going. I don't have any coolant in it, so I can't really show you it coming to temperature, but what I will show you is the way that it works. So when this sending unit reaches 185, it grounds out. And when it grounds out, this is what happens. That fan kicks on. When it gets back down to 175, it shuts off again. So that's how that works, and that's how you can test it to see if it's working. But the only thing that you're not testing by doing it this way is the actual sending unit itself. The only way to test that is to read off the gauge, or maybe a temp gun, however you want to do it. But that's going to do it. That's a simple 4-wire installation. I think that kit cost me $10 or $12 off Amazon, and you can do this with an Amazon fan, a Champion fan. You could do this with a Taurus fan, any electric fan you get out of the wrecking yard. There's no reason not to. And for 10, 12 bucks, you can get yours working proper for you too. That can do it for this one. If you hung around this long, do me a favor, think about subscribing. We could use some more subscribers. Thanks, guys.